Hello and a warm welcome to NTA Nationwide, reaching you from the network service. I am Olajide Bello. Many thanks for joining us. And now to agriculture. The scourge of armyworms has done its worst across the country, especially on maize farms, with those in Niger State hard hit. But like a fall, pick yourself up, dust yourself down and move on. That is exactly what those farmers in Niger State are doing with support from the International Fund for Agricultural Development. The fund has provided support with inputs worth 200 million naira to boost their output. Musa Baba Aliu tells us more.
Fertilizer and herbicide. They are the main thing a farmer needs in a farm, and they are the ones that are very difficult to acquire because they are very expensive.
35,000 farmers are currently benefiting from the International Fund for Agricultural Development in Niger State. For the 2017 wet season farming activities, 5,000 farmers are being supported with fertilizer, chemicals and seeds. The federal government and IFAD are to jointly pay 50% of the items, while the farmers pay the balance.
If the farmer use these inputs in the field, we don't expect them to harvest less than 6 to 7 metric ton at the end of the cropping season. So we advise the farmers they shouldn't go to the market to sell these inputs.
Inputs come at a better time when you need it, and IFAD is here for us from start to finish.
Niger State government has pledged to continue to pay counterpart funding for the benefit of farmers across the state.
Niger State, we have only 5 local governments enjoying this program. The remaining 20 local governments were eyeing, and they are praying that let those gestures be extended to them.
The international organization is also supporting rice production and processing in Niger State. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The Mieti Allah Kautaure Association has attributed the incessant clashes between herdsmen and farmers to lack of education and awareness. Leaders of the Pan-Fulani Association said these are the North Central Zone meeting of members held in Maraba, Nasarawa State. Kolo Mohammed reports. Clashes between herdsmen and farmers in some parts of the country has been a recurring phenomenon, posing serious security challenge to the nation. The collaborative efforts of governments, traditional, religious and opinion leaders have however doused the tension and brought relative peace between the two parties. It is to celebrate the North Central Geopolitical Zone that Pan-Fulani Association Mieti Allah Kautel Hore held this meeting. Leaders of the association admonished members to desist from any act that may lead to conflict and engage in dialogue to resolve differences where they exist. Different speakers emphasized the need for education, which they say is key to peaceful coexistence, self-realization, and harmonious communal interactions, noting that it is only education that can offer them the knowledge and how best to herd their livestock and understand the concept of ranching as practiced in other parts of the world.
We are working towards improved and friendly sensitization of our people. Hardline stand won't get us anywhere.
While attributing the relative peace achieved to working closely with security agencies, Wakili Gidado decried kidnapping among members, cattle rustling, diminished migratory paths, and utilizing their modest communities as launch pads by criminals. Representatives of security agencies were also at the meeting. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News. And now to the legislature, the Senate has decried lack of gas pipelines from southern parts of Nigeria, which has hindered power generation and led to shutdown of industrial sector in the northern region. In a motion on the urgent need to save the 215 mega Kaduna power plant, Senator Basi Albert Akpan, Akwa Ibom Northeast, advised the Senate Committee on Power be mandated to investigate the anomaly.
To get the Kaduna power plant working in the next 6 months, to allow the northern parts of Nigeria enjoy the benefits of the installed 215 megawatt power plant is to provide an alternative gas supply mode to the plant.
Some senators contributed to the motion as well.
It's for the committees responsible to do investigation and bring out the facts.
Who is the person that doesn't want power to reach the north? 214 megawatt of power now to be dependent on somebody bringing diesel from the ports, transporting it by road all the way down to Kaduna, and then, I mean, how would this happen?
The managing director of the Great Green Wall, Goni Ahmed, says since its inception in 2013, the agency received only 10 billion naira. The fact that the agency was not captured in the 2016 budget also slowed down its activities. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa reports that the managing director was before the Senate Committee on Environment to provide insight on the areas of intervention by the agency.
Concerned by complaints by some members of the National Assembly on the level of land degradation in 11 states in the north and the dangers associated with desert encroachment, the Committee on Environment, led by the chairman, wanted to know why the managing director of the Great Green Wall was silent when the agency was not captured in 2016 appropriation, leading to slow pace of work in the affected states.
We know trees that will do well and in the future and the ones that won't. We want to see that whatever you've invested, that we see it coming up.
The managing director of the Great Green Wall, Goni Ahmed, said despite the paucity of funds, the agency was able to carry out some activities.
Several contacts have been made with the World Bank, African Development Bank, collaborate with several other agencies.
The committee advised the agency to look into creative ways of generating funds to improve its operations. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
Representatives has passed the 3 petroleum industry bills for second reading. The bills seek to address issues of governance, host communities, legal and regulatory framework in the petroleum industry. Our National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo spoke to Representatives Mohammed Tahir Mungono, who presented the bill, and Victor Nwokolo, Chairman, Petroleum Upstream.
Well, the petroleum industry bill is one of the bills that actually Nigerians have been anticipating to see it get through at the National Assembly. And then on the 25th of May 2017, the Senate passed a version of this bill. And then today, the House of Representatives is considering them for second reading. And I have with me the person that presented the bill. Now, tell us, what actually does this bill seek to achieve?
Well, the petroleum industry governance bill seeks to unbundle the NNPC into various entities for the ease of doing business and for transparency, and also to bring it in tandem with international best practice.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, sir, tell us that this bill we are separated into 3. What are the aims of this?
Well, they're all interwoven, let me say, because you can't have a good petroleum industry bill without the physical, without the host committee, and without the governance bill. They're all interwoven. Let me say something. What we are trying to achieve if this law is passed, is creating a one-stop shop for all the relevant laws that governs the oil and gas sector. Half of our laws are already outdated, and again, the gas laws are not adequately provided for, and all over the world, they are shifting from crude to gas development all over the world. Maybe for power and for that.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. Well, this bill at this point in time, being passed for second reading. Then there are these other 2 that will subsequently be considered. And as soon as these bills are passed for second reading, as usual, it will be be expected to receive a lot of legislative input, which would come from members of the public. It's now back to the studio.
Many thanks, Ignatius. And away from the legislature, Nigeria in frantic effort to save repatriated artifacts. Over now to Ademola for details in Lagos. Ademola.
Good afternoon and welcome to Lagos. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says government will continue to evolve measures to check illicit trafficking of cultural property in Nigeria. He gave this assurance at the exhibition of repatriated artifacts at the National Museum and Monuments in Lagos. Amechi Piles has details. Well, we're still working on that story. We'll bring it to you in our subsequent bulletin. We'll now move on to the next story. The need for governments to collaborate with the public sector and the civil society groups to achieve the objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals has been emphasized. This was the submission of some civil society coalition groups members at an SDG conference in Lagos. Annie Daniels reports.
The Sustainable Development Goals were adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 2015. It is aimed at replacing the Millennium Development Goals, ending poverty in all its forms, amongst others.
Don't be surprised, up till now, some people don't know what MDG is all about. Reason being that the awareness was not done at that time.
This conference is put together to create more awareness and educate all the authorities concerned. It will also help them to identify the gaps, challenges and opportunities in achieving the much desired and durable development in all spheres of life.
The goals and the targets are well thought out, but the problem we have generally is the problem of data.
So the most important thing is to look at these 17 goals, identify the sectors that cut across each of the goals, and then sit down together with the sectors, identify where they are, where they intend to be, and how are they going to reach where they want to be.
Stakeholders emphasized the need for an all-inclusive synergy.
It starts from self, not to be selfish. But who does not have cannot give. Self-development, then development which now metamorphoses into communal and global development. So we can easily solve issue of poverty when we are really sincere with what we are doing.
The general consensus here is that with coherent global partnership, geared towards providing the necessary finances, capacity, technology and innovations to developing countries, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals will be achieved. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has assured officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force of improved welfare facilities to improve their operations. He gave the assurance at the commissioning of Airmen's transit accommodation at the Air Force Base in Shasha, Lagos. Amechi Piles reports.
The Nigerian Air Force is no doubt strategic in ensuring peace and stability in the country. This task comes with a lot of challenges. To perform optimally, it has become imperative for government to provide personnel with equipment to enhance their operations. It's in line with this objective that the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has continued to provide officers and men with equipment and incentives to achieve a highly motivated and effective Air Force.
As we continue in our quest to add significant value to the Nigerian Air Force and indeed the nation, I must state that I am particularly delighted to return to Nigerian Air Force Base Shasha for the commissioning ceremony of yet another set of projects aimed at enhancing the well-being of Nigerian Air Force personnel.
Former Chief of Air Staff Air Vice Marshal Abdullah Bello commissioned the twin two-story blocks of flats for airmen on transit and this secondary school at the Air Force Base in Shasha, Akunwajo, Lagos.
Personnel who are comfortably accommodated are often more productive, thus improving the overall efficiency of the service.
The secondary school, which is fully equipped with physics, biology and chemistry laboratories, underscores the importance the Chief of Air Staff places on education. In Lagos, Richie Pius, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. It's back to you, Olajide, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Ademola. Moving on. Peace building is not an option as such. It should be preserved in the heart of every Nigerian. This was the opinion of speakers at the 2017 IFUC Friendship and Interfaith Dialogue Dinner held in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
Building forces to stimulate understanding and promoting peace and unity remain a huge task, resulting to the government in most cases reading the Riot Act to the citizens where there is breach of peace. In this hall are people with diverse religious beliefs, cultural and political difference, but are here to interact and build understanding amongst them. This is an annual forum that brings them to share the same table, eat together, and exchange pleasantries for peaceful coexistence.
We hear a lot about how difficult it is for us to stay together.
This initiative by the UFOC Dialogue Forum has become an avenue to promote societal peace and love for the good of humanity.
And establish a common interfaith, intercultural, and intellectual platform to stand by societal peace and respect and compassion in support of human dignity.
Speakers say it is time for the elite to mobilize their supporters and brace up in the fight against acts that could breach Nigeria's diversity, which is her strength.
When the followers see their leaders whining and dining together, when the Christians, they see their leaders whining and dining together with Muslim leaders, when the Igbo, they see their friends, they see their leaders whining and dining with the Hausa, at the end of the day, we are building a united and virile Nigeria.
Sometimes we are told that the leaders, we are always meeting together and holding hands and laughing, and that the problem is at the bottom. No, the problem is not at the bottom. The problem is at the top and also in the medium, where you have the pastors and imams.
This kind of dialogue that you are encouraging is the spirit we all need in our country.
If you reserve in your heart a seat for everyone, then you'll be able to accommodate any Nigerian, irrespective of where he comes from.
We need to move out as leaders to engage the people at the bottom of the social strata.
Nigeria, they believe, can only get stronger if everyone works towards peaceful and prosperous future. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Now to security matters. Due to the disturbing resurgence of armed banditry and kidnapping along Abuja-Kaduna Road, troops of 1 Division Nigerian Army Wednesday carried out clearance operation at Regional Forest, Kaduna State. In a statement by Director Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka Usman, the troops cordoned the armed bandits camp, where they arrested the suspected notorious gang leader Sani Ibrahim, known as Butu, who has been on the wanted list of security agencies in Kaduna State for a long time. The troops also recovered a motorcycle and 25 goats from the camp. Similarly, the troops, in an ongoing operation, mounted ambush along Zamfara State border with Kebbi State, in which they neutralized 3 armed bandits and recovered 134 cows and 13 sheep. And now to some health matters. Family physicians have been tasked to brace up to the challenges of medical practice. Senator Abdullahi Adamu made the call during the 2017 Joint Update course of National Postgraduate Medical College of Physicians in conjunction with Federal Medical Center, Kefi, Nasarawa State. Agatha Joseph reports.
Declaring the workshop open, Senator Abdullahi Adamu acknowledged the contribution of medical practitioners in nation building and called on them to improve in their service delivery in line with global best practice.
I have a passion for what happens anywhere in Nigeria that promotes life.
I believe that if they are well trained, the health indices of Nigeria will improve by reason of their being pumped into society.
A resource person, Dr. Amawe Emmanuel, says use of mobile device while examining patients is unethical.
Keeping my patient sitting down and operating phone or opening computer is not fair. We will want to use this week to correct that anomaly.
We expect that they will have been impacted more in the primary care of eye diseases.
The theme for the workshop is Joint Update course and training of trainers. From Kefi, Agatha Joseph Obioha, NTA News.
In line with the federal government's commitment to the provision of adequate healthcare facilities for core members in orientation camps across the country, the wife of the Nasarawa State Governor, Mero Tanko Almakura, has laid the foundation for a comprehensive healthcare center at Magaji Danya Musa NYC Orientation Camp, Kefi, Nasarawa State. Again, Agatha Joseph reports.
During the foundation laying ceremony, the wife of the Nasarawa State Governor, Mero Tanko Almakura, pledges to use her pet project, Telefi Women and Youth Foundation, to see to the success of the project.
I want to assure you that this project will be done expediently, with all my strength, with all my friends, and very soon the editors will take effect.
The coordinator, NYSC Nasarawa State, Zainab Issa, says with the increase in population of core members, the camp's clinic is overstretched, hence the need for expansion.
Our effort is therefore to complement government's aspiration at meeting the desired healthcare needs of not only the camp community, but also that of our host community.
And I believe that the coppers in this camp soon will have the best of care.
He may not be able to benefit fully from it, but generation of doctors and even core members who will be coming down to this particular state would have something to look forward to and will enjoy better health services.
There was a drama presentation by the core members to drive home the message. From Kefi.
And still talking health, the Nigerian Governors Forum Secretariat is collaborating with National Primary Healthcare Development Agency as well as Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to review and find solutions to challenges being encountered by states in implementing the primary healthcare uniform policy. The idea is to ensure that the Primary Healthcare Governance Reform Initiative becomes successful. Chimdima Ndubisi reports.
The primary health care is the foundation of every healthcare system, being the first level of care close to the people, which offers cost-effective health interventions. To unify primary healthcare structures and programs at all levels, the primary healthcare under one roof policy was initiated. This gathering, therefore, is to assess the current situation, identify challenges, in addition to sharing experiences and successes of states in the implementation process.
Whether it is in the area of routine immunization, data quality improvement, vaccine development, and very importantly, demand creation at the community level, we are taking bold steps to bring about effective coordination at the national level.
Get our governors on board, ensure that there's better funding, and then to empower the champions at the state level.
The development partners' role in this initiative is to provide technical support.
We have provided what they call the eHub. The eHub is the platform on which a lot of things can sit. So all the tools and manuals that have been developed to support states can now be accessible on that platform.
It's particularly important for me to see that all the tiers of government that are responsible for primary health care are together.
The strict implementation of this policy will strengthen the primary health care systems, resulting in efficient health allocation and improved health services. In Abuja, Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Plateau State's Governor on assessment of flood-prone areas, Shehu Said, will give us details from Jos Network Center. Said.
Thank you, Olajide. Good afternoon and welcome to Jos. A valedictory court session has been held in honor of eminent jurist and former Chief Judge of Plateau State, late Justice George Ulonko. Governor Simon Lalong says the late luminary was a man of honor who worked assiduously for the unity of the country. Paul Dama reports.
The valedictory session was attended by relatives and members of the bar and bench who came out to honor the late Justice George Ulonko. Governor Simon Lalong, who recounted some past experiences with the deceased, said he would remember him for his conduct, decorum and sound judgments in cases he presided over, and for his passion for the unity of the country.
For those who appeared before him or who were privileged to practice when he was here, will always know that he left a legacy. He was somebody who was working for one Nigeria. Today, people are calling for secession. Today, people are giving quick notices. They are all unnecessary. If we follow the good footprints of our leaders like Justice G.I. Uloko.
Chief Judge of Plateau State, Justice Pius Damlak, in his valedictory message, espoused the qualities of the eminent jurist and his contributions to the growth and development of the judiciary.
Lived with integrity, honor, dignity, and thereby propagating the tenets of the legal profession.
Son of the deceased, Mr. Linus Uloko, the Just Branch of the Nigeria Bar Association, and the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Plateau State, colleagues and friends said the deceased earned himself a reputation and was honored as officer of the Order of the Niger by former President Jonathan. The late Justice George Uloko served as Chief Judge of Plateau State for 15 years and is regarded as the longest-serving Chief Judge of the state. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Governor Simon Lalong has assured prompt intervention in areas prone to flood in view of the heavy downpour being experienced across the state. The governor gave the assurance while inspecting some areas which were flooded as a result of heavy downpour. Again, Paul Dama reports.
Governor Lalong was in company of officials from the Ministry of Works and Transport, Jos Metropolitan Development Board, Plateau Environmental Protection and Sanitation Agency, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, and the State Emergency Management Agency. The team visited the Rayfield Road, Miango Junction, Domkat Bali Road, close to the amusement park, and parts of Tudunwada, which were affected by the overflow of water as a result of heavy rains. The governor was informed that part of the problem is inadequate drainage systems, while in some cases the drainages were blocked. The team were also at Apollo Crescent, where a large portion of the road has been eaten up by erosion.
This time we are very careful. We don't want to take chances. And when I heard that there was flood, I was also really up and down, and so that interventions where necessary can be done immediately.
Governor Lalong also paid an unscheduled visit to the Plateau Hospital, where he saw firsthand the dilapidated structure of the medical facility. The governor was taking round the wards, X-ray department, pediatric section, the laboratory and abandoned project, which is supposed to house the maternity complex.
Before coming to this place, we had done some interventions. Some of the buildings that you see there were all part of what we did in this, within this administration. So today I came in to see where we will also require immediate attention.
In addition to some interventions made so far, the governor promised that long-term solutions will be provided as soon as funds are available to government. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
Plateau State government has indicated its willingness to partner with any organization or individual that will help in harnessing the potentials of the state. Commissioner for Lands, Survey and Town Planning, Festus Frontier, said this when he visited a non-governmental organization building relationships in city centers, BRIC. Abdulhab Babankanti reports.
The Commissioner, Lands, Survey and Town Planning, Festus Frontier, visited the center in company of the Commissioners for Tourism, Culture and Hospitality and that of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Frontier said the visit to the center is in line with Human Development Cardinal Policy Trust of the Lalong administration.
And as a government, we didn't think we should allow them to continue to do what they are doing without exploring the possibility of partnering with them to see how we'll be able to encourage them and support them in the direction of what they are doing.
He added that as soon as the school feeding program starts in the state, government will incorporate the catering unit of the center as part of the food vendors.
Most of the things that BRIC is doing now is tourism related, and it's also commercially viable in terms of the end product of the activities they are trying to learn. And so it became very apparent that we must go there and see what they are doing. And seeing what they are doing, it's obvious that we can find useful materials among them.
The center so far has about 50 participants, among whom are internally displaced persons from the northeast, which has been ravaged by insurgency. In Jos, Abdullah Babankanti, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Jos. Is back to you, Olajide. From Jos, is back to you, Olajide. From Jos.
Thanks, Said, and congratulations from all of us here. We wish you well as you proceed on your retirement leave. Moving on, you can watch these news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. This is NTA Nationwide. Time to pause for some messages. Don't go away.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is NTA Nationwide. Power without fear of contradiction is a critical factor in not only industrialization of economic growth, but all spheres of the national life. So fixing Nigeria's power problems has been high on the agenda of the Buhari administration. Usman Ali reports that the government's efforts might just be yielding results as new players in the industry are being held responsible for improved supply and efficient service delivery.
And the supply of electricity cost Nigeria and Nigerians a lot. Sometimes desperation to get power lead to dangerous measures. Struggles to remove Nigeria from chronic power starvation profile has been for decades. But with recent monthly meetings like this one in Ogoji Transmission Substation Enugu by key players in power sector, one thing is certain: issues of responsibility arise. Responsibilities, actions and inactions by generation, transmission and distribution companies as well as consumers are presented side by side. To achieve the new government's roadmap, this meeting is counting on the commitment of the consumers and the distribution companies.
Everybody has a role to play, not just those who produce and distribute power, or those who sell gas and all of that, but those who consume energy also have a responsibility in terms of how to use energy, how to use it efficiently, and how to conserve it.
Disputes across the country over inaccurate metering, high charges and inefficiency form part of the discussion at this gathering.
It is better for a customer to have a meter than not to have a meter, to be on estimation. And thank God the regulator has proved that the meters have been okay all along.
We are looking at very heavy sanctions, including calling off the boards of some discos and replacing the boards. You know, it's going to be as bad as that very soon, because NEC has a right, just like Central Bank does to banks.
But there is hope and improvement on new power projects and rehabilitation of damaged facilities, as explained by the key players.
This substation was conceived initially as a 330 kV switching station, but we've been able to make it a transformation station by dropping 330 to 132 to 33. 33 means that Enugu Disco can connect, and they're in fact connecting right now.
At the end of it all, the communique issued acknowledged the success of power sector recovery program particularly urgency in solving power problems. Equally, state governments have been empowered to procure premium power directly from generating companies. The communique charged the Electricity Regulatory Commission to intervene over allegation of disconnection of some prepaid metered customers. Usman Aliu, NTA News.
Still talking power, the House Committee on Power has urged the management of Rural Electrification Agency to decentralize its operations, just as the Committee on Telecommunications frown at poor service delivery by mobile telephone service providers. For details of these and other committee activities, here is National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa.
When the Managing Director of Rural Electrification Agency appeared before the House Committee on Power, members raised various issues, award of contracts and procurement procedures. The chairman, Dan Asuko, advised that tenders must be properly advertised and the process of selection transparent.
The payment is loaded. Okay? When you offload the payment, it's credited to the company. So these other three, where does it go to?
The House Committee on Local Content was also on duty, as the members, led by the chairman, Emmanuel Loko, warned oil companies against taking advantage of free trade zones to defraud Nigeria. It was also a meeting with an indigenous oil and gas company where the issue of exploited quota was raised.
I think all of you here understood clearly what is the penalty for giving false evidence or tendering a falsified document before the committee.
And concerned with the number of Nigerians disengaged from the services of telecommunication service providers, the House Committee on Telecommunications invited the service providers to provide explanations. The Chief Executive, however, did not show up, but the Chairman, House Committee on Telecommunications, Sahid Fijabi, has given them another opportunity to appear before the committee.
The next time you are coming, we want either of your executive directors, since you don't have the GCOO.
In recent times, members have expressed concern about poor service delivery by service providers. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
Saka on the way for the unemployed in Oyo State. Let's join Kemi for details in our Ibadan Network Center. Hello, Kemi.
Thank you, Olajide. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to Ibadan. The federal and Oyo State government are empowering unemployed women in Oyo State in agriculture and allied businesses. Correspondent Adibola Ogulano says the empowerment scheme is being implemented under the federal government Fadama 3 program.
The Graduate Unemployed Youths and Women Support Program is a joint arrangement between the federal and Oyo State government scheme under Fadama 3. The scheme is to bring youth and women out of unemployment through agro-business and 1 million take-off grant. Oyo State Ministry of Agriculture has commenced screening of about 452 applicants between the age of 18 and 35 who are interested in agriculture.
The 300 that will be chosen would be expected to practice their agro-business within Oyo State. They become agripreneurs in any area of agriculture.
Successful applicants wanted government to provide market for agricultural produce to encourage local farmers.
With the empowerment, I think I can go further by buying more animals and sourcing for money to feed. That will be solved. The problem will be solved.
My aim is to invest it on my own poultry farm.
Government has promised closed monitoring, extension services and inputs to enhance the business. In Ibadan, Adebola Ogulano, NTA News.
Muslims have been urged to live peacefully with people of other faith and support government efforts in solving the various challenges for the nation. This was the central message of the Ramadan lecture by the National Orientation Agency in Oyo State. Femi Afolabi reports.
Professor Isiaq attributed the current economic situation in Nigeria to lack of political will by the past leaders to manage the wealth and resources of the nation at their disposal and inability to govern with fear of Allah. Professor Akitola commended infrastructural development in Ogun State, saying, leading with the fear of God, accountability, and performance are all marks of good governance.
You see, when you put God-fearing people on the seat of power and the head of affairs, you see performance.
The Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amusun, challenged Nigerians, particularly Muslims, on the need to be alive to their responsibilities and contribute to the development of Nigeria, especially at this time of recession.
Let me call all of us in Ogun State not to cease from their continued prayer. The prayer alone will not do it.
He urged them not to relent, but to continue with the good virtues they have imbibed during Ramadan. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
That was a Ramadan lecture by Professor Isiaq Akintola in Ogun State. We now take you to the report by Femi Afalabi.
The lecture, entitled Living Islam in a Multi-Ethnic Society with Peace, Social Cohesion and National Unity as Common Goals, attracted the who is who in the media and Islamic religion in Yoruba land. Guest lecturer Alhaji Rashid Adeshokon emphasized the need for Muslims to be ambassadors of peace in a multi-religious and ethnic society such as Nigeria.
For social cohesion and national unity, we all should gather together and live together in peace. And that's the only way we will enthrone peace, stability, and prosperity.
Director of National Orientation Agency in Oyo State, Dolapo Dosumu, says a good service to fellow human beings and the nation is a service to Allah.
What is paramount at this moment is for Nigeria to live in peace. It's for there to be peaceful harmony among every Nigerian, irrespective of religion. As Nigerians, we have different ethnic groups, we have different religions. We should be able to tolerate one another, to accept each other the way we are.
Other highlights of the event are recitation from the glorious Quran, special prayer for President Muhammad Buhari, and peaceful coexistence of the people. In Ibadan, Femi Afolabi, NTA News.
An interstate social protection study tour under the auspices of the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, has been in Osun State to understudy the impact of various social investment programs on the people. Olabode Arewa reports.
The various social protection programs being implemented in Osun attracted interest from 16 states, whose officers will draw lessons towards adopting similar programs in their own states. Governor Ralph Aregbesola told the delegates that significant sums of money have been spent on initiatives such as O-Meals, ORIP, and OES with verifiable positive impact on the people's livelihoods.
This is an integrated policy of feeding elementary, of feeding pupils in elementary grades 1 to 4 with healthy and nutritious meals every school day. We have engaged the services of 3,007 community caterers.
The delegates visited some elementary schools in Osogbo to inspect the impact of the OME program on the pupils.
Any program to be implemented in accordance with the design, it will be determined by the ability, willingness, and the commitment of the leadership. Osun and Ondo, I think they have required leadership.
It's all about different policies and programs of government designed for the individuals and households across the life cycle that guarantees at least minimum life of dignity for each individual.
The delegates are expected to inspect some of the ongoing social protection programs undertaken in Osun. In Osogbo, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Alajide, back to you.
Many thanks, Kemi. And moving on. Political analysts have continued to attribute the long deficit in visionary leadership in the country to promoting of selfish interest through endemic corruption considered to be counterproductive to building a strong and united nation. This was the issue before guest on NTA's Current Affairs program, Moment for Thought.
While we are busy trying to build in my hometown, my states, my tribe, or my religion, we are not talking about the basic issue in order of priority, Nigeria and Nigerians as one single entity.
I think we are programmed
to fight to fair. I believe that some people somewhere believe that if we leave these people the way they are to succeed, and therefore something has to be stirred.
Moment for Thought comes up tonight, 10:30 on NTA Network Service. Discussions on proper implementation of the 2017 budget took center stage on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria, where experts commended the federal government for giving substantial commitment to some vital aspects of the economy. Kunle Adeyeye reports.
One of the budget's components addressed the debt service ratio, which stands at over 2 trillion naira, but the Director General of the Budget Office, Ben Akabwese, said people should not be agitated as mega revenue generation should take care of that. Other speakers urged the federal government to focus more on infrastructural development and employment generation so that all classes of the society will be gainfully engaged.
Everything in the budget speaks to employment. You cannot generate employment if the economy is not growing. So every expenditure that is focused on driving growth in the economy invariably will create, employment. Included in this year's budget, for instance, is money for development of special economic zones.
We need to enhance the extractive capacity of the government. And in fact, political theory has shown that taxation is good for democracy.
The fantastic product that government brought in, 140 billion under the SIP, the JIP, and meant for traders and artisans.
The executive and the legislature were also tasked to display maturity as they perform statutory functions of implementation and monitoring. The guests say government should also involve the private sector in the preparation of the budget, which will bring about innovations that will help in achieving a balanced budget.
Government shouldn't just concentrate on the urban centers. They should look at the rural centers so that people will not have the incentive to move the rural areas to the urban center.
The exchange rate and interest rate, these are very critical for businesses, and the government should also involve the business community.
They were unanimous in imploring the concerned arms of government to be more proactive to avoid late assent to the appropriation bill. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
And more security measures in Maiduguri as Muslims enter last lap of Ramadan period. And Naomi is standing by in Maiduguri. Naomi, it's over to you.
Lajide and welcome to Maiduguri. As Ramadan fast enters its last lap, Muslim faithful observe midnight prayers. Security within and around Maiduguri has been fortified to ensure adequate protection of lives and property during the periods. Yagum Subakar reports.
The recent attempted Boko Haram attacks to instill fear and cause panic amongst residents of Maiduguri has become a source of concern to all. Hence, the need for people to be security conscious, especially now more than ever before, by embarking on rigorous vigilance of their respective areas. Borno State Police Command says all worshipping places during Ramadan and the 13 major Eid grounds in Maiduguri have been secured for faithful to worship.
We have instructed our additional police officers and area commanders to ensure that such places are well covered, and where they fall short of personnel, they should refer to these state headquarters for reinforcement. Then apart from the divisional personnel, we also have the federal SAS personnel, the counter-terrorist unit, and the police mobile force, and of course, the explosives ordnance unit, EOD, who are going around to ensure that incidents of IED explosions are put on check.
In an effort to ensure there is no any breach of security in the state capital, the police has mobilized its personnel to be on alert and alive to their responsibilities by deploying more policemen and equipment into the state. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subakar, NTA News.
Still on security, worried by the incessant attempted suicide attacks on University of Maiduguri by Boko Haram terrorists to destabilize academic activities, Borno State government, the management of the institution and security agencies have been working together to ensure security of lives and property within and around the institution. Maimuna Garba reports.
It has now been observed that the focus of suicide bombers lately has shifted to University of Maiduguri due to several attempts to infiltrate the institution and cause havoc. Despite the 8 years insurgency in the state, the institution has continued with its academic activities uninterrupted until January this year, when the university recorded its first bomb blast, which claimed the life of a professor and 2 others. Other subsequent attacks were all successfully foiled. Some of the proactive measures taken include making the university security unit strong, securing the institution perimeter fence, and dredging the perimeter areas around the university, as well as the tremendous support by the Borno state government and security agencies.
We have enhanced our vigilance. We have full confidence in the security measures that have been put in place. And I want to assure all parents that their wards are in good hands.
It's part of our responsibility to protect critical structures, especially the universities. That's why we took it upon ourselves to post my men, armed men there, to fortify the areas alongside other security agencies.
These measures will no doubt fortify the security at the university. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Victims Support Fund has expanded its scope of program by involving development partners to assist in developing the Northeast. This came to the fore during a 4-day workshop for the support of victims of terrorism. Amina Fidi Ahmadu reports.
Victim Support Fund has been of tremendous assistance to victims of insurgency in the Northeast since 2014. Declaring the workshop open with the theme Equipping Partners Organization for Effective Project Delivery, member of the committee, Dr. Bula Amali Gubio, says the foundation has started on a good note, going by the caliber of people.
The scope which they are now pursuing is okay for now, but should they have more funds, I think they should look into empowering the victims to go back to their ancestral home.
Also speaking, the executive director of the fund, Professor Sunday Ochoche, says with the resources at its disposal, it was able to execute projects that have direct bearing on the people.
Since he has identified some of those areas as possible areas for next intervention, I am sure the committee of the whole will be interested to look at it.
He urged the partners to focus on issues bothering the people and come out with workable plans on solving them. In Maiduguri, Amina Fidi Amadou, NTA News.
And that does it from Maiduguri. It's back to Olajide in Abuja for more reports on NTA Nationwide.
Many thanks, Naomi. Moving on now, the Chairman, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Ekpo Inter, has challenged finance managers to key into the anti-corruption drive of the federal government so as to tackle corruption and leakages of public funds. The ICPC chairman said this at a 7-day training for the 36 state commissioners for finance, accountants general and auditors holding in Kefi, Nasarawa State. Suraj Abdullahi has details.
The ICPC chairman, Ekpo Inter, and the Auditor General of the Federation, Anthony Aine, who described the positions of the participants as strategic in governance, challenged them on ethical conduct in the discharge of their duties to avoid being victims of corruption.
They should take home how to design preventive processes that will not allow the kind of huge monies that have been going out, which is making the front pages of newspapers. That should never happen again.
If you prevent corruption from happening, no money will go out. The expenses involved in investigating, prosecuting, and recovery, whatever loot that has gone out will not be there.
Some of the participants acknowledged the initiative, pledging commitment to professionalism.
Prevention, corruption, and also fighting fraud will also allow the things that belong to the public to go to the public.
So we are talking about recovering funds from different places, MDAs, ministries, and private homes. Who then lets those funds out of the system?
The training has a theme, corruption and fraud prevention. From Kefi, Suraj Abdullahi, NTA News.
Lesotho Prime Minister-elect devastated over the murder of his estranged wife, just as UK Prime Minister Theresa May orders full inquiry into London fire. Visit more on Global Tidbits with Talatu Ezurike.
Reports say that Lesotho's Prime Minister-elect Thomas Thabane is devastated by the assassination of his estranged wife by unknown persons. The couple filed for divorce in 2012 that is yet to be granted, while the deceased won a High Court judgment to be a First Lady instead of Prime Minister's-elect youngest wife. There are high hopes that the inauguration of the Prime Minister's-elect will still take place on Friday. From Niger, flood hits the country's capital, following heavy rains for several days that has claimed the lives of at least 9 children and collapse of houses. This comes as Belgium investigates Democratic Republic of Congo's Minister of Justice over alleged crimes against humanity related to the shooting down of a plane almost 10 decades ago. And UK's Prime Minister Theresa May made a brief private visit to the scene of London fire as she ordered for a full public inquiry into the incidents. That is all on Global Tidbits. Talati Ezarike, NTA News.
And now talking sports. Nigerian athletes intensify efforts ahead of the Commonwealth Youth Games in Bahamas as China's bid to develop its football received endorsement by FIFA. Tamara Ibiwe has details in Sport Update.
Former Chairman House Committee on Sports, Godfrey Ali Gaya, has advised the newly elected board members of the National Sports Federations to look beyond government support in financing some of their programs and activities. Gaya appealed to the National Assembly to come out with a policy tagged Sporting Activities Funds to cater for all the federations rather than lump their money in the ministry's budget.
If it is clearly spelled out in the budget, for example, athletics, X million, Aquatic Federation, X million, then you hold them responsible. But when they always come to you Kaba begging, whenever they have an activity, it is not sport development.
56 Nigeria athletes in camp in Abuja and Lagos have intensified training ahead of the 6th edition of the Commonwealth Youth Games, scheduled for 16 to 25 July in Bahamas, which will feature 1,300 young athletes from 70 nations.
We intend to be in camp for the next 6 weeks, so as to really ensure that these children are in the best form of their lives, so that we can do Nigeria proud.
China's bid to develop its football into one of the best in the world received further endorsement when FIFA President Gianni Infantino met President Xi Jinping in Beijing Thursday, as the world's most populous country hopes to push a bid for the 2030 FIFA Men's World Cup. With sports update, Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
But that's it on NTA News Nationwide. Many thanks for being a part of it. I'm Olajide Bello. Good evening.